Yo, what's up? It's me, Richard Clark, aka Wushu Richard. Every now and then, it's almost like a year that passes, or months and months and months, when my lazy ass has to get up and start practicing my artwork. Now, as you know, I'm not the best artist at all, the best artist or animator, but I do create my own animation hand-drawn. And in this day and age where most people are, a lot of people I should say, are using AI to create art, I'm actually quite proud that, you know, I'm someone who does still, you know, create by hand, even though my art might not be the best. I've seen some amazing artists online. Just recently, you know, I hunt them down. I try to check out their art because I have so much respect for people that are creating art, you know, the old school way, as in by hand. Anyway, what I like to do is embarrass myself and show myself up. No, what I like to do is I like to every now and then, when I do start getting back into my art and I've got a bit of time to start practicing, I sometimes take notes and I make videos to like remind myself in the future, like when I look back, when I start getting rusty again, to remind myself, like give myself some tips of what I found out or different methods I'm using and stuff, like just to help myself kind of remember where I once was, because sometimes I just end up like getting so rusty. So thanks for joining me in this video. I'm just going to be doing a bit of practice, you know, it's nothing amazing. Let's just look at what we're doing here. So I started off with these red colour, different shapes of like heads, and I'm going to take you through how I actually did that. This is like a guideline for heads, okay, for characters. I'm trying to design some new characters for my next up and coming animation that I'm working on, and I thought I have to start somewhere, so I just started to design some like rough head design. This is supposed to be like one character. This is from various different angles, and you know, you can kind of like liken me to some of the old animated artists you might have seen back in the day, animators you may have seen back in the day, where you're watching a cartoon and as soon as the character like turns his head from a certain angle, it doesn't even look like the same character anymore. So I'm trying my best to do what I can. You know, that can sometimes be a bit tricky, that. Anyway, let's have a look. So you can see this is a rough idea I'm going with the character here. This character really reminds me of a bit like one of my other character from many years ago, Kai. And this could even be Kai, I don't know yet. I have not decided if this is a new iteration of Kai or it's another character. Either way, I'm liking the rough basic design of the character, of the face. Let me just have a look. So let's just look at what I've got here. So basically I've got this design for head shape, and then what I've also got is like a line for some hair, and you can see I'm playing with like this reddish sort of colour. You can go with blue or whatever you want, turning down the opacity on those layers below to kind of flipping them on and off to visibility, and just to use this guidelines, you see, so you can play with the opacity, making it more transparent or more visibly and, you know, opaque. You can have just these so switch off and on the layers, so to speak, the layers, and then I'm drawing a proper character on top. When I actually first started drawing these heads here on top, they weren't even in black, they was in that dark red colour still. Just on full opacity, full visibility basically for the layer. But anyway, let's just look at it. So let's just look at what I'm doing first of all. So what I did, okay, and I like to keep this as a guide for myself. So I like to keep these in folders as a guide. So I'll move these up here for a second. I'll move these down. I'll move this down. Oh, hold on. Actually, what I'll do is I'll turn that on. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's what I'm going to turn the opacity right up on those. And I'll just like merge those down. And move those down there so they can see it's all one thing. Okay, and then I'm not going to colour them in, there's not much point. I could colour them, but I'm not going to bother them, so I'm just going to go here. I'm going to merge. Actually, I'll bring that up and turn the brightness up like that just to make it where are we? The levels faint, a bit fainter, you know. In fact, it's not doing the best job at that. Why the hell is that? It's a bit strange actually. I'll just apply this the contrast. I may have to just go with that. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. Let's crop this. Oh shit. Okay, whatever, I'll just go with that. I'm going to save that there out as an image just quickly. Save it as an image. Okay. Back. Undo a few times, and there we go, and then I'm going to go delete and delete. I'm just going to show you again. Okay, so edit, select, deselect. I'm going to zoom in. I like to zoom in pretty close first of all. I'm going to go with like a blue or a red. I'll go with a reddish, dark red sort of colour. I'll do like an oval shape, just really roughly, but oval shape like that. We'll do a few of these just to get them all in. The idea is to be really rough, just simple, right? Now what we do is fairly high up on the top, we do a hairline, then somewhere from here it's like a bit further down, like somewhere near the middle, like it's like somewhere near the middle, put it that way. This is like an eye line, then a nose line, and then in the middle here you'd have a mouth line, and you could have it like slightly up higher. I've noticed that putting it a bit higher is a bit better, and you'll see why, right? So let's look at that again. So hairline, eyes line, nose line, and then mouth line slightly closer to the nose to give it a longer chin. Now a line down the centre. Okay. I'm going to have this one on the side, so I'll have this like this. Hairline at the top of the hair, the top of your, where it starts, you know, where the hair is, okay? The eye line, the nose line, and the mouth line. And then a line down the side here, and I'm going to do a little marking for where the ear is going to be, starting on that eye line, the top of the eye line, with the bottom of the ear, and finish where the nose line is. Same thing on here, so I can just draw a couple of rough ear shapes in here and here too. Don't worry about those lines going outside, these are not exact shapes, don't forget. For this one, let's see, so I'm going to try and do a diagonal one in a moment. I think we'll do, this one will be the diagonal one here, so I'll do a line for the hairline, eyes line, nose line, mouth line, and this will be where the centre is here. And then there'll be another line on the side here, kind of thing. I'll do an ear shape here to get the idea, but you can always fix up the shape a bit if it's not working. Like you can fix it a bit and you make it a bit like better, like I just did. For this one, I'm going to do something also. Let's do like an eyeliner over here. That's a hairline, so hairline, eyeline, nose line, mouth line here, and we'll have it more like, again, it is a diagonal, okay. The ears on the side there, okay, I'm not seeing much of the other ear from this side here. I'm going to see a little bit of it there, okay. And yeah, now I'll have to adjust those in a moment, as you'll see. A couple of things to note here, okay, so eyes on this line. Now, we're just making we are just basically making a basic guide. So I'm going to turn this down a bit, the opacity, so I'm kind of transparent. Make another layer above that. What I'm going to do is put like some shapes in for the hair. Now you can just simply go in and kind of work out like a bit of a shape like that, like that. That's totally fine. You could also put like some dots or something like that around. Either way, you could even just do like a rough kind of hairstyle, whatever, like just like that. What I'm saying is sometimes it's hard. What I'll do is I'll work out like from here, see the little shapes like that, and then what I might do is I might just draw like a basic rounded kind of shape, so that comes off of where the skull is. That might be a bit too much. It depends on what you want to go for. A bit less, maybe like that. You can really simply just work it in. From here, you might then want to do a few shapes, like working a few strands and kind of like work out more what it's going to be like. I might make it a bit more spiky there. Just work out some ideas. There's many ways you can kind of work it out. This is also a guide, a basic guide. So you'd also make this a simple guide to turn the opacity down. Another thing you might want to do is just do some scribbles, like scribble a load of hair shape in, just to fill out this. It looks like someone's grandma, I know at the moment, but you know what I mean? Like just kind of like, just like fill in this space and kind of something is coming off on the outside, like expanding from the skull itself, you know what I mean? You can erase parts of that too, it doesn't matter. Just get it a bit more looking like hair. And you can even make like any kinds of brushes basically. Turn that down a bit now, like that, see? And you've got a guide for some hair. You don't have to follow that exactly, but it could be like a guide. So you can even like start to cut it, start from here, so cut the shape down a bit, and just work out what I want to have. I mean, you could even, if you wanted to, go on another layer and turn the opacity down, and then just start, doing that. Like you can literally just like make it right from the beginning, even like that. Just like pretending like laying on some hair. Start like very close to it. Just like some scribbles and that, just to get a shape of some hair. It doesn't really matter too much. What I did in that original one is I just literally did some spikes like that. Just a load of messy like spikes, right? And then from there I turned that down and I made another layer and I just went around that. So that was a guide for this guide. So however you want to get those guides in, you just get the guides in basically. Now before we start drawing any hair, let's just look at the faces for a moment. So first of all, I want another layer here. And you could simply just go in here and do a little couple of pupils like that. And they could be markers where the eyes are going to be. You could go in here and just decide straight away I want roundish looking eyes. Or they could be sockets, Or you could just simply go in and start drawing some eyes, like very simple eyes, And just go with whatever you feel like going, to be honest with you. But what I've been doing though is just going in and doing this kind of like a shadowy kind of shape. You can even like make the line joined up if you're not too comfortable in the beginning, and then erase it and separate it into two eyes. It's like shadowy kind of shapes here. For the nose, I'll go down here and make like the bottom kind of shape of the nose part there, and I might do a line somewhere near the middle like that going down. I'll also put some like lines here from the eyes and also going down like that, and a mouth fairly close here. From the sides of this, from the eyes here, by the way, so you see them in the shadow, I might do eyebrows coming off here, see? And you can make these thin, or you can make them like thicker eyebrows. Just do them however you want to do them, however you want these eyebrows in. Let's work them in, okay? So, yeah, this is a basic shape of the eyebrows, right? Now from here, you could go in here and just do a basic shape. So come in here, come down, about here where the jawline is, where that mouth is, okay, and then shape it a bit better, like it coming in a bit more like that maybe. See, it's just a basic thing, and it comes slightly up like that. Just fix it until you feel you're okay with it. If you're still not happy with it, you have to say slim it down some more or whatever. I'm just doing a basic kind of like a place, okay. Yeah, I'll put a couple of ears in, just while we're here, a couple of shapes for the ears. Okay, and then you can see that it's starting to take place. Put a shadow here for the bottom lip part here, fair enough. Yeah, you know, just fix it until you feel happy with it. You can erase certain parts here, so you see, until you've got them eyes looking a bit more closer to what you want to have it. So as a basic starting point, see? And yeah, and it just seems to work. Now we're just going to keep them as shadows for now. Keep the eyes like very shadowy, and that works for a moment. You could go simply in here and just erase a little bit like that, and that would bring in a couple of eyes. Or you could draw them on top. So I've just done it this way for quickness. Now you can turn down the opacity of that head a bit more below if you feel it's a bit intrusive. You can make another layer above that. I'm going to use blue this time, just so it's a bit more easier for us to see what the hell we're doing. And I'm going to put like a line in here, just like a basic, very rough, basic kind of hair shape. You don't have to draw the hair shape, you can just draw a shape, don't forget, if you want to. So we'll go around here, it's just a shape that goes around the head basically. Bring that lower down now. At least we've got a basic guide for where that's going to go. It's a framework for where we can put the hair in. And to be careful, I'm just going to put it on another layer. I've just chosen that red colour again. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in here, zigzag it in, put a little zigzag around there. You've seen what I'm doing. I'm basically drawing that same character we had on the other picture I made earlier. So we'll go here, and yeah, a few things are not working too well, so I'll erase this here. See, it depends how you've done your guide, as I say. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that up until I've got it kind of looking, you know, how I kind of want it. The good thing is when you're working with one single dark colour, and we'll make that black, as I say, is you can like erase parts of it too as you go, and just keep it all within one shape. Okay. Sometimes a simple sketch like this can be all you need to get your actual whole character in. And if I remember to know what damn layer I'm on, we might be doing a bit better. Okay, there we go. So there's a dude. I'm going to just go here. I think I'm okay with that hair, so I'm just going to merge it down onto one layer now. I'm going to turn off that hair layer, delete it in fact. And I'm also going to turn this off visibility for a moment. Go onto my right layer there. Choose active layer for the selection, and voila. So going into here, I'm going to do a few things and turn this out a bit more. I'm just going to, you know, I'll make another layer just to be careful. I'm just like, add some hair onto that bag. Okay. I just go here, I can't just make it one thing. And we'll just keep it simple for that here. So I've actually used less layers than I was gonna originally, which is okay. Right? Cleaning it up a little bit there. Okay. And he's already looking like somebody's dad. I'm feeling that the eyes are a little bit too high up, I feel, for my liking. And if I can bring those down a bit here, That's a bit better, I think. So I brung the eyes a little bit lower down, fixed the nose position on 2, I think. And you don't have to do this, you shouldn't be doing this actually, you shouldn't need to. But that's that. I'm going to put a few more little lines on him. I'm going to bring the brightness all the way down, that's a black. And yeah, just do some little lines here on the head, maybe little things like this make a difference, you know. Ranging things. Yeah, this is the guy, you know. You'll be surprised kind of mess you can make of a nice clean page. Here's our tough guy. I could put a top on him if I wanted to, like that. Oh, he's wearing a top, I don't know. I'm not going to bother with that right now, but you get the idea. We'll zoom out. Really do this. Now, you could go there and do the whole shebang with the guy here, you know. And give him a top and all that business. You could do that. The only thing is we started from a real sketch, you know, it was like just really a sketch, wasn't it? You know, and it was like, you know what I mean, very rough. You can go in here, select this selection here. Yeah, make it a layer below it. Choose a skin color, skin type color. Color that all in, that will stay within there. Merge that down with that. Cut these bits out. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on, is that right? I'm not too sure about that. That's better. Bang. Okay. Select. And what we can do is we can. Oh dear. Hold on. Let's turn that expand off. Actually. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's good. Okay. Better. And we can go in here. Go down and shift. Choose a colour. Any colour you like. Just fill it in there. Select. Fill that bit a little bit. Just for the sake of it. And for the white, I'm just going to zoom in. The eyes. Nice and simple. Yeah. Just put it there. And just tweak that colour a little bit. As well. Bump up the saturation. Bit much better, right? Play with the hue a little bit, maybe. With the levels a bit, you know. And what do you know? Yeah. We've got a bit of a it's having some fun, by the way, here for the moment. A few little shines in the guy's hair, just to make him apart, you know. Okay, duplicate this guy, bring him down in the darkness here, much darker. We're going to go with this shape selection thing here, choose the eraser version of it. We're going to think of where the lights come in and try to erase, or actually erase areas to reveal the areas where the light is. So for example, here. Okay. About like that. You see, I thought I'd have the eye whites still bright enough to see there. You know, this kind of thing. So yeah. showing where the light is. There's some dark areas under the eyes here, as you can see. You see nothing, you don't overdo it, you know what I mean? Don't overdo it with the shadows, just think about where they would logically be. Yeah. Realistically, you know. Like that, so. And there we go, that's how I do, see. Excuse me. Just keep it kind of simple. I'm going to go with this, duplicate this, make it a little bit darker, I think, a little bit darker then, and do a little highlight. Well, for this I'm going to use an eraser version of a pen and just erase nicely, just to show some areas where some light is, you see. And that brings it out a little bit more, so just paint it away with the eraser pen, merge those down. Not too happy with that shadow under the chin, so I'm going to select this colour here and just paint it in a bit more. The shadow under the chin, that's a little bit better, I think. Okay. It depends how you want to do it, just painting that in, that's totally fine. Be very, very careful. And we can also erase some of these rough areas. A bit of a clean up if we wanted to. It doesn't really matter at this point. So just clean this up there, you see. You know, paint a bit more light if I wanted to, or don't have to. Okay. And you see what I'm saying, and I can see also that it's not done the best job of cutting this bit of mess out in this shape. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to cut out. I do this often, you may have seen me do this in video before. I just do a quick cut out of this. I'm going to go copy layer, file new. Okay, make that, edit, paste, select, hold on, I'm going to bring this over, just so we can work within a different file basically. Go here, I'll just cut a piece of that out here, cut that in here, crop, yes, delete this because we're going to work with something else later on, don't forget we've got all these other ones to do. Do select, go in here, and I've kind of messed up because I forgot a couple of things with this character we're supposed to be doing. So I'm going to make another layer here. I'm just going to go with a few spiky bits of the hair in the front as well. I want to have that in there. So I'm just going to fill those in. I'm not going to go over the top with this particular one. Put a shine on there. I'm just going to have it like that. You know, a bit of that going on. And I'm going to, move that down. Make another layer beneath. So I'm going to make this faded transient transition with the this thing here. I'm going to do a fade for the background like that, just darken over the top, so it's supposed to be closer to us kind of thing. Yeah, I'm going with that. I think what I'll do is I'll also bump up the saturation on that as well. I'll even bring him up a little bit brighter, like that, to make him merge in nicely to it. Okay, merge him down with that. Make the whole thing slightly blurry. Slightly. Ever so slightly. Then go with a unsharp mask. I mean, it's a very strange thing to do like that. The unsharp mask, I like to do that. You'll see why it brings out a bit of a look to it, like sharpness about it. Makes it a bit more, I don't know, it feels more like a TV VHS kind of. That's what I just feel it does. Done with that, you know. And there we go, you know. I'm going to go there, play with the colour a bit more, bump up that a bit. And already it's doing some magic with that, I can see. I'm going to bring a yellow in with one of those soft airbrushes, a big one. A very bright yellow, almost like a white, and I just shine down like it's got sunlight shining on him, and erase some parts here. Now turn the blending mode over here, the blending, onto something else like hard light. Turn it down a bit to the opacity. You don't want it to mess up anything too much. I'm erasing certain areas because I feel it doesn't work too well. I think that's going to be actually okay. Merge the whole thing down, duplicate the whole layer. You know, I'm bringing the darkness down a bit in this now, like this, and I'm going to erase through the middle of it too. Give it a kind of, what do you call it, a vignette, whatever the fuck you pronounce it like. And nice, you know, merge those down. What the hell just happened there? Okay. Play with the tonal curve a little bit. Well, when you've got the two merged down together, tone curve. Be careful because sometimes playing with all this stuff can like change the hue a little bit. It kind of makes the colour look a bit weird. Be very, very careful with that. And all that fuss just for a little picture like this. Yeah. I know. I'm just having some fun. I'm just having some fun, don't worry about that. You could also, like, I could have done like a desert in the background or something, a desert scene. I didn't bother doing that. I'm going to go with like another layer here and just do a sun in the sky, something like that. It's a little bit low, I must say, so a bit higher like that, maybe. I don't know, the sun and that. Could even do it like that even, maybe. Something like the other there. It just depends on, but it doesn't really matter really, because at the end of the day, it's just a bit of fun. Duplicate that, give it a big blur, you know, very glowy blur. Duplicate that again, merge that down, and even drag it like that a little bit. You see, which does something. We does some cool stuff here with that. So you also erase carefully with a soft eraser. An eraser version of the airbrush, just erasing parts there. That's done something for it, I would say. Bring it down if you want to. I'm just going to have it like that. I think that would do. I could duplicate that and then erase parts of that as well. I'm not going to mess around too much. It's just an effect, really. That's what we're really going for, an effect. I could merge this down with this down with this, make another layer. And go with like a dark kind of blue kind of shape first of all. I'm going to make like some mountains or something in the background that are just like faded into the scene, like, you know, little shadows of some mountains or something like that. You know. And what it's going to be is very, very faded like that, you know, very faded. It's like a bit of blur as well. Like that. You know, And I'll just even duplicate those actually. Make those ones bigger or something like that. Like he's in the land, you know what I mean? He's in this land. I'm going to erase some stuff in a moment, don't you worry about that. I'm not going to keep it like this, obviously. Just do a few things here. But it's doing something, as you can see. And that will be something there. What I can do is erase the areas we don't need, obviously, like in front of the picture. We don't need those in front of him, obviously. As you can see, obviously, you know. Put that down a bit there. Yeah. In fact, it's so faint, isn't it? Including them, I'm just going to put them in here anyway, because I've done it just for the background effect. You know. I can duplicate this whole thing, cut him out basically from this, just really roughly. Boom. Then deselect it, play with this a little bit, as you can see, which doesn't do much for it at all. You know what I'm saying? But then just put a bit of an effect there. Go with the eraser again, and just erase from there, you know, just to get a bit more of an effect. Just balance things out, you know. There you go, close that down, play with it a bit more, there we are, bit of fun indeed. He doesn't look like he's having a good time. Doesn't look like he's having a good time at all, does he? And there you go. Let's save that image. Okay. Let's turn that off and let's get back to our sketches. So, let's imagine I'm just going to go in here and do some sketching. Let's imagine. So I go in here. I'll choose that dark red colour with a normal thin sort of pen. And I'll just imagine I'm sketching these faces. Let's just try and get really quick about it, okay? And let's imagine we're going to do some simple things. So I'm going to turn down the opacity and put the hairline in ASAP, straight away off the bat. You know. Just put a basic shape in for some hair. Okay. Just doesn't matter if you go over the ears, really. Just go around it, like just do some broken lines, something like that if you want to. Just get that in right from the beginning, so you don't need to worry. So you make, I'm just going right over the ears. It doesn't matter. Pretend it's like behind the ears. Just really, just feel the shape for the wrist moving very naturally as you draw those lines in. Come in here, okay. It doesn't matter because they're not doing the exact style that it's going to be. Just literally doing a shape which can be around the back of the ears. It does not matter too much at all. Just remember that. Just go for the same kind of a shape. Very, very natural. Here, come in here. Here, doesn't matter. Over there, it doesn't matter. It starts to look like Elvis. Don't worry about that. Back of the head, you know, you can always arrange it and fix it up later. It doesn't matter. You're just giving yourself some guidelines to work within. Because without doing that, you haven't got any guidelines, and it depends how you feel about having the guidelines, you know, having them or not. I'm coming in here now, coming up here, sketching some lines up the side of this part, coming up here, that shape of the head there, coming to the back, coming around the back of the head here, over here, up, over to the front. Very broken, nice, sketchy kind of rounded lines as I'm doing that. Don't worry again if you see any weird sort of shapes, you can always clean those up later on. In fact, while we're here, everything, when you zoom in and out, you start to see everything's kind of falling into place. You see very naturally. You kind of arrange things, rearrange them too as you're going, but the idea is not to worry too much. Bringing those down, so you can just about see them and these. Making them a layer above now, going on to another layer. We just go in and start drawing the face. Okay, so let's look at this for a second. How can we do different faces? Well, it's quite easy really. Another way you could do this is actually by going in here and deciding the actual size of the eyes. I've done another line here, as you can see, because I'm thinking, let's imagine we had two big eyes in here like this. And let's imagine we wanted him to like look over this way or so. We can like get the basic expression straight away. You can do something like this and then make it whatever you want later, like a draw proper eyes. This is just a guideline, that's all it is, okay? Let's imagine I go here now and I do the same thing. So I'm just making fairly big eyes here and I'm going in with these big circles, okay? Trying to proportionalise the size of it and everything. So these eyes looking down at this guy over here now. I'm just going kind of like, you know, an angry kind of like puzzled kind of look at that. Let's say angry look about him. You know, and let's just imagine that, you know, you could, if you wanted to, work out the whole shape of this character, like how big his nose is it a big nose, a small nose, or by doing a cartoony kind of a look first of all, very simple. Over here now, let's go on that line again here. I could go with that very, very small eyes here, maybe if you wanted to. So what I'll do is I'm just doing circular, kind of like, more longer kind of eyes, you see. I'm going to make this one looking back over this side, and I'm going to make him very surprised. These are guides, expressions for guides is what they are. They're not the actual eyes, they're not the real faces, okay? For this guy, I'm going to give him very, very small eyes. So I'm going to go over here to this side here, and you're not seeing them very long here because it's a side-on view, okay? I'll just put the pupil in and everything right on the side, so you see the pupil, and I'll make him like just very normal kind of expression here, just with the eyebrows fairly straight, a little bit down, okay? And on this one here, what I'll do with this one is I'll give him some big eyes again. So I'm going to go here, make them really big eyes, okay? So I'm going to go over here and make them so big you might think he was from space. And I'm going to make his eyes looking up, like he's looking up at something. He kind of just very, let's see what kind of expression we can have. His eyes like kind of like that, surprised again, kind of curious or worried about something. You get the idea. So in this one, I should have had the eyes kind of looking up here a little bit. I think the eyes, because he's looking over that guy. Not necessarily, I mean it's not really an actual scene, but I'm just going to have the eyes like that. Okay, so as you can see from here, we've got this guide. So we've got the guide for the hair, as you can see, the guide for the hair. Okay, we can bring those all together now because it's a guide, right? But the reason I didn't want to do that is because we might use the hair guides again for other characters who wanted to. So let's bring those down. The eyes at this point in time are just rounded guides. So let's bring those down and we'll make another layer above and start to draw some eyes in. So let's imagine, now we've only done the eyes, we haven't done any other faces, which is a thing, you know, we've not done any other face parts, I should say. So what I'm doing is I'm now basically just trying to draw some more, you know, stylized eyes in, basically. And yeah, I'm just going to go like some, you know, eyes like that. You know, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's see what we got. I'm just trying to do what I can to keep the active layer selected and go boom 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 boody boom. I really enjoyed saying that. Boom 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 boody boom. Sometimes you just gotta say how you feeling. I'm pulling here, what we're going to simply do is we're going to keep that nose line as we had, or as it is. We'll put the nose right there, a little small kind of triangle for the shadow. And do I need to draw the rest of the nose like a line up here? I don't have to, but I've done a little small line here, and I think it works for this particular character. Now, because we've got our hair guide, it's very useful. I'm going to make this a picture of a character. Let's just see what we can do. I'm going to do this here, put some hair in, and just make him a fun kind of young guy. And I'm taking my time. I'm going to go down to about here. I'm going to put a little mouth kind of expression in. He's like, huh, what's going on? Kind of thing, you know. I'm going to go around here nice and simple. You may notice I'm not using the actual whole shape of that head. I'm actually, sorry, that guide there. I'm actually going in with a lower chin, so a shorter chin, I should say. Still knowing where that jawline is, about here. And yeah, kind of squared off. He's not completely rounded there, but I kind of like it. The rounded, the roughness of it kind of gives it that old school kind of vibe. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to draw an ear. And I'm not the best at drawing ears. The same as I'm not the best at drawing hot females either. But I've done quite a few in the past, if you have seen my videos. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little neck here, just down like that, just to give our character a neck. I might do the back of the hair here too. We've got a very nice guide here to show where the top of the hair is going to go, and I think it works pretty fine. Fine like fire. And here we can see that the dude is now taking place. I'm going to go over here and have a little look at it. I'm going to go over here and see what we've got. So, may need to fix a few things up that don't look right. Well, let's just see. So, going in here with an expand of 1, and then filling out areas where you need to. You can also choose this shape tool here, just like do some extra spikes and stuff you want to do it that way. Keeping note of the eyes, the eyelashes, like the top part of the eyes are actually more slightly thicker. A line is slightly thicker, okay, the line. Okay, so this is what we've got here. His eyebrow is fairly high, I know, but I personally don't really think it matters too much, because I've seen some crazy things in old school anime cartoons and stuff that really look a certain way, Bring that all the way down to black now. So we're pretty happy with the competition, but at least I am. We have a nice couple of lines here. That would be better than the stronger lines actually. Let's see. Make it more simple. This looks to me like a character of mine called Koji from a cartoon I made called Koji the Kung Fu Kickboxer. If you've seen that show, thanks for watching it. Okay, and I'm going to go here. I think this basically is the guy. Looks more or less like him. Now the top of the head, I must say, looks a little bit high. So I'm just going to cut it down like that. And just move it down ever so slightly. And that sort of works better for me with the fill in those gaps in with that pen. And that looks much better, I think. Get behind the ears a little bit here, as if I was a bar. Okay. Here we go. So, again, filling out things we need to. And let's see how we're going to go. I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to basically just, I'm going to shut up a little bit. I'm going to go over here, we can have a line. And here with the white. Okay. Merge that down with that. Fill in these areas. Sometimes we need to turn off the expand. So close the gaps so that didn't really tick here. I'm using Fire Alpaca and Amazing Art software, which I've been using for years. Go into there. Go into the mouth part here as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select from the active layer, select the outside, then go to select, and go to inverse selection. Make another layer below this layer in a skin colour. And we're going to give Koji his skin colour, okay, which is like this. Okay, so from there we're going to now change the hue a little bit. Just everything. I'm going to go onto a white, and I'm going to literally paint in the eyes. Another layer above this, but I want to clip it to it. If you're unfamiliar with the terms I'm using, like clip and stuff like that, just let me know. Just look it up online. So I'm just painting that in. If you feel it's a bit rough, it doesn't matter because you can use the eraser now to cut out various areas. And it cleans it up nicely. Moves down a little bit in the opacity. No, I'll keep it like that actually. Okay, I'll move that down. Move that down, so we've got a whole line there here. Let's look. Play with the levels a little bit. Do what I want to do. A bit of a white here. Showing in there. Usually I'll do that on another layer first, but okay. Be careful with the laser. I'll just do that. I'll just make a darker version, a darker duplicate of it on the top again. And what I will do is I'll use my eraser version of this cutout shape, okay, and I'll just cut out some areas to, you know, reveal the character, the lighter areas of the character, sorry. This is going to be really, really nice. If he survives his next match. There you go, sorry. That there. A bit of shadow going on, that's not too much. So let me see if that's totally fine. Yeah. Today has been fine. Turn on the opacity a bit on that if you want, just to fill it out. Merge that down, go in there, paint any bits up that messed up. Merge that down the hole. Check it's one there, which it is. You know, to deselect. And we have got him looking up at someone who's giving him a funny look. Now, I think at this point what I'd like to do is lock the layer. Okay, lock the layer. Well, what I was going to say is I was going to lock the layer. Okay, and then so that I wouldn't accidentally draw on top of it and mess it up, see, is my point. But because I want to start drawing the other characters and other layers. However, we've got all these details and stuff. Yeah. Below, which are all 3 different layers. In fact, I'd like to put them into a folder. That works. Into a folder. Right, here we go. We'll drag all these 3 into this. and there on one there. That's nice. Okay. In fact, I wouldn't mind putting this in the layer as well. That's great. Now we can start drawing above that on another layer. Okay, that's kind of okay, I think. Yeah. It's kind of distracting with him there. I mean, the thing is, we're not going to get drawing on it. We've got to remember that's just a background. That's all that is, just a background. I'm going to lock that layer too, so we can't accidentally draw on it. So let's see what we got. I'm going to bring that down a bit and start drawing our next character. So, go with a dark red again. Just like to do it that way. We're going to go with the guy that we've got. I'm going to go in here and go. So I'd like to just go very, very naturally. And that's what I'm going to do, is kind of basically sketch this one in. And then what we can do is we can draw an actual character if we want. Anyway, I'm going to go a very rough, I think, like that. Do a shadow like that. And make it like he's maybe about to say something to him, that he's like, you know, having a go at him basically. This punk, whoever this punk is, go in there with a nice line and go there, boom. And what we're getting is a nice basic sketch. I can basically just really sketch it in, basically just go very natural about it, you know. Notice how I did those zigzag kind of like eyebrows there, just for quickness. I'm going to make the hair kind of fall on top of his ears there. Now, so these really rough kind of lines here. Okay. Still using the guide that I created. I'm going to make the chin too squared off on this one, but like a bit of that, you know. Shaping it as I go, it's just a sketch. So you don't have to do the real thing first of all and then just turn it to black, you know. You don't have to do that. I'm going to make this guy's hair a little bit more wild, I think, like more spiky and stuff. Let's see how we go. So you've got to be able to relax and do some, you know, relaxed kind of strokes, broken lines, just really, really natural. That's what I think it's all about, really. It's about being natural. It doesn't matter if you're doing scribbles, like silhouettes for characters, and then just, you know, whatever, or if it's for a face or some detailed thing like this, you've got to be like able to be having a loose, rough shape first of all, and then you just basically go in and do the proper thing on top, you know. Yeah. Fairly thin lines, not too thin. It's just a basic guide, don't forget, so we can like change the actual spikes themselves if we want to as we go. So it's just a basic shape. I think that works okay. Put a bit of detail in if you want to. Just at the start, just to get a feel for it, you know. Make his mouth a bit more wider, maybe. He's saying something, I mean, we know that he's not being great. He doesn't look too angry, I must say, but here, let's see, a little bit like that, maybe. Kind of helps it a bit, the shape. Okay. Depends what you're going to do with the hair, really. I like to just go with like silhouette type shapes first of all. You know. Anyway, that's that. So what I'll do is I'll bring that down lower now, turn this off. So turn that visibility off the background, make this very faint, and I'll go with a black on another layer above it, and I might even still turn down the opacity as I'm doing that slightly, just so feel a bit more safer doing it. But you can obviously turn up the stability and stuff as well here, the stability, just to slow down the speed of your strokes too. It controls it, so get some nice smooth lines there. But I'm going to try and do whatever I can do here. So as you can see, straight off the bat, it's very strong, full opacity up. I'll turn that down a bit, have the other one lower, but this one's still down a bit too. I'm going to basically just start drawing. Still kind of broken, but like still kind of like rough, I should say, like how I'm doing it, a bit like relaxed, you know. But more confident now because we've got the actual guide down. Meaning we can fix things a bit as we go. That's what I mean by that. We can also fix things as we go. The things that don't look good enough to us, we can like change the shape of that chin a little bit, like I just did there. A little bit, so just fixing it. Some things we don't need to fix, as I say, they're okay as they are. And some you may want to. Be careful when you're doing broken lines, like if you're going to be filling those lines. I'm saying, like, sometimes you'll get like areas on the inside that are very you'll have problems with the colouring process. That line I'm not too happy with there, actually. But it's okay. So I'll just shut the heck up. I'm going to try and be a little bit less, what's the word? Detailed on the inside there, and just put a few lines and just make it like this simple. That looks okay. If I turn this off, it does the job. Put it that way. I'll delete this guide, bring the opacity up, fill in this. It might not look too amazing at the moment, you know. Go in there. When you put these blacks in, it does the trick, you know. I'll even duplicate this layer so it kind of boldens out a little bit. Merge those two together. Go in there. I'll select from the outside. Notice how I do have, I've got the active layer selected on the top left here, not canvas. And I've also got the close the gap box thing ticked here. And I've also got the highest level on. So when I choose this magic wand, it's selecting very well. Same for the paintbrush, the fill tool, which is the paint bucket tool. Now from here, well, there's one little issue I've noticed here. Let's deselect by going to select for a second and going to select. Deselect, sorry, up here. There's one line that's not joined up with the blackness up only here. I just joined all the lines up. Let's go back again and select that. Okay. Now I'm going to go to add another layer and drag it below this one, and I'm going to go to invert selection. Okay, invert the selection. Okay, from here I'm going to colour everything in this, the skin colour first. You usually want to choose the colour that is the most seen on the character. So in this one it's basically, I'd say more even, more or less, because it's you know, the hair's got a lot of hair in this. So I'm going to use a very large size paintbrush and do that. Okay. Then I'm going to select from the hair. No, actually, I'll just do it like that. I'll just merge it down. It's okay. I'm going to fill in those areas with this. I'm going to deselect, go to the paint bucket, to the nose, white for the teeth for a second there, and quick little bit of a thing I didn't notice there was on the eyes. I didn't make the tops of the eyelashes thicker. What I'm supposed to do. So fixing that up a bit nicely. Okay, nice. And from here, there's a few things we could fix up. So I'm going to go into here. You think there might be some issues later on with the line, the colouring sort of in this. It's just a turn off the protect alpha. Turn that on, I should say, protect alpha. So we can't, cut. We can't like colour. We can't do anything outside of the lines. It's just going to work within here. Good. Okay, good. Turn off that now. And I'm going to choose a colour for the hair. I'm going to go for like a reddish kind of orangish sort of red hair. And that has actually done a much better job than I thought it was going to do actually. I thought it might end up with all kinds of artifacts and stuff, but it's done okay. Now that's done. I've got protect alpha turned off, so I can freely erase certain areas to clean up the areas I want to. I'm going to add another layer on top of this. Now go to clipping, to clip onto this one. I'm going to go to overlay, and for this one I'm going to just paint in the eyes the white. Okay, paint them in manually. There's no AI in this motherfucker. AI just lost its job to me. The riches comes in healthiness, and the joy of living. Big up yourself, respect in heaven, Big Bob Ross, you know what I mean? The joy of painting. Damn. Do that, bring it slightly down a bit. Merge it down, I'll merge the layer down now. Bumping up that saturation under filter at the top there. Where is that on filter? About hue and then saturation. Okay. Let's go here. Turn that back on if I want. Bring this up so we can see his friend. Or that guy. Okay. I'm going to go here and make a duplicate of this one. Make him darker. First of all, and then that's for the shadowing part. And I think there's different ways of doing this. One way is you can erase from the top layer to show the bottom layer, and it's going to be either shadow or it's going to be light. So I can switch the order of these. So the light one's on top now. And I'm going to use this shape tool in the eraser version of it. I'm just going to basically cut out areas to reveal shadows, basically. Cutting away from this top layer. If you make a mistake, you just hit undo or hold control and press Z. You can also make the backup of any layers, like extra layers, just to be careful if you want to do it that way. Okay, so I'm just making some rough shapes to show where the shapes would be. Not going over the top, as I say, even with these shadows. Okay. Nice. Okay, so here, go in here. I'm not going to give too much shadow on below there. Just putting a bit in. It definitely does something for the character. Now, something about his head looks a bit weird to me, so I'm just going to merge these two down. I'm going to select a black for a second, make another layer above this, the pen, take a thinner one, and do this here, and then choose this colour here too, I'm just going to fill that in. Let's see what I'm going to do back. Just adding some more hair to it. Right. Merge that on. Choosing a colour here. Just select colours from the canvas. Hold down Alt. Your paintbrush. Your pen. Cursor should change into this colour picker tool. There's a eyedropper tool. Choose that. Let go of Alt, and then I'm back to the pen tool that was selected. I'm just painting a few shadows in here manually now. Okay, I can go ahead and select any colours anytime. Okay, here now. You may want to, as I say, go in and add a bit more of a black for the nose. Like put a little bit of a line there. That looks better, I think. Have a look. Now with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm again going to go to the hue, play with that tone a bit, see what we got. Do a few things here. I like to have them bright colours, I really do. This is an anime type thing, you know, so just see what we can do here. I'm going to duplicate this one, make it very light, very light kind of colour like that. Bring it down below this one and get a simple eraser version of any pen and just start erasing to show them like highlights, you know, a little bit of a highlight. If it's looking a little bit too yellowy, you could turn down the saturation a bit or play with that hue a little bit, you know. So yeah, bring it to something that looks a bit more realistic as you go. You don't have to be too crazy, just do what you want. That's enough for me. Merge that down, go on to another layer. Go over white, I'll put a few nice shines on there, why not? And you see immediately. You know what it does, it brings out that nice those shapes a bit, you know? Because the dark shows the light, and the light shows the dark, remember? In life, too. That is the principles of yin and yang, seen in art also. It's in music, it's in everything. Yin and yang is in everything. So I've put out the yin and yang. It's actually, try these words, yin and yang. Okay. You can sometimes do like thick lines like this and see how that goes. I don't want to go overkill, and then just erase bars, you see. You don't want it to make it look like a real ugly mess, like you're just trying to do these shadows, and you don't want things to look too forced sometimes, you know. Bring this down a bit now. See how you feel about it. Just look at it. I think you'll be okay. It's kind of overkill, so leave it down a bit. That's kind of okay for me. Going on to the tone curve now. Bring this down a bit here. Okay, let's see what we got. It's just basically a case of just seeing what you feel like, really. Turn down the saturation a bit there, maybe. Yeah, it just depends on what you've done in the beginning, basically, that's what it is. Yeah, it works though, right? Apart from the fact we can't see the body. So what we could do is have like him peeping through a hole or something like that. Or I could just simply put a bit of body there in the background, you know. I think I will do that actually. What I'm going to do is a simple little nice little sketch like you know, something like that. You know, it's just there somehow. What I'll do is I'll go with the shape, so I just turn that kind of transparent for a second so we can see what we're doing. I can put this here. I'll make all of this part the skin colour, is what I'll do. And the rest of it's going to be the whatever shape that's going to, whatever kind of colour it's going to be for the clothes. Just make it like I'll make it like a blue maybe. Just make it like that. And I'll make sure on the active layer for this, do this in here, nice and quick. See, nice and quick. Bring this back up. You know, so that will actually work. I'll go in here. Not like that, it won't. Good. I think I'll just colour this bit in manually. And that works very nicely actually. I'm going to duplicate this for a second and just make a lighter version for a second, I think. I'll put it below this one and then do some cutout shapes again. Just nice. When you're working with clothes, you can work with like different kinds of, as I say, different kinds of shadow shapes, you know. So that will basically do, I think, that. I've had to avoid the other guy's head there below that. Duplicating this one for a second, I'm going to bring this down to make a bit of a shadow, so move that below and just cut out a bit of a shadow here. On the right there. We're just going to make sure you're on the right layer with this stuff. Fine. Merge that down, and now we've got this guy. Do you see? And yeah, you see. I could actually shrink him down a bit as well. This one is a bit further back, you know what I mean? Like he's looking in further back there. It's okay. You know? We've used our guide, as I say. I didn't give him a blur, so a slight blur. You don't have to, but I like to do these blurs. Where are we? Go to this guy here. Give him a blur. Give him a blur. Okay, hold on. Slight blur, and that's probably about enough there actually. Now go with that unsharp mask thing, and you see it's done a pretty alright job already. That'll be that, nicely done. You know, put that a bit more of a brightness or whatever, that probably does it that bit actually. A bit more justice to it. Didn't do any highlights on the top, just the shadow as it is. But there you go, it's like he's looking in, you know, he's looking down at the guy, he's saying something to him. It's like, hey man, where were you yesterday? He's like, me? He said, you're gonna have a girlfriend, do you? He said, me? No. You know, bit of fun. Yeah. So there we go, and you can see how we used. Let me just bring this into here for a second. Open that up. Turn it off for a second. I'll do an extra layer if I'm not too sure. So unlock this for a second. Where's that? Why have we got an extra layer? That's weird. Whatever, anyway. So we've got our guy there. Where is he? We can bring this one into this. Unlock that one. Join him onto that one. And that can become a locked layer now. You can bring the opacity up and down still, it doesn't matter. Turn off the visibility so it doesn't distract us. And we've still got all these guides, and we know we've done those first two, so we can work on the other one now. So it's going to be like a little collage of different faces, very different faces, I must say. We'll just see what we can come up with, you know. I like the idea of just doing those sketches first, though. It definitely is a nice thing to do. The eyes, we've got the hair, and we've got the heads. I'm going to bring that up like that, lock this again. Still knowing we can control the whole opacity and everything too. And I'm going to go up here and basically just start working with these heads. Well, with this next one here. Okay, so let's see how we go. Okay guys, so what I've decided to do is I've decided to basically continue with the drawings in the next video. So I hope you enjoy all of the following art videos that are coming up. Okay, here again I'm just showing you these sketches I did earlier, what I showed you in the beginning, and this picture here that I showed, that we did in the last video too. Not the best one, I must say, not my favourite one. If you're looking at it now, it really isn't my favourite one. It's not my favourite one at all. Going back to our file here, in the original file, we can also look at those original pictures again too. So going over here, we did these, as you can see. So with the guides, this is what we've actually got basically without those. And we can see this. In fact, while I'm here, I wouldn't mind doing a copy, like getting an image of this and saving it as an image, but I'm not going to do that because that's against, it goes against the whole, you know, point of this, because the whole point is I'm supposed to be doing it with the 5 images there. So we'll continue in the next video. Turn these on, turn the visibility off in this one, close that down, still a lot good, opacity down, and we're ready to go, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.